New Orleans is an incredibly lively, wonderful, creative city.
The Crescent City is known for many things. Good government has never been one of them.
You have issues of race here, issues of class, rampant poverty. We have one of the highest murder rates per capita in the country.
There's been an awful lot of finger pointing between heads of agencies. The police department, the district attorney's office, the public defender's office, the clerk of court, and the sheriff.
For decades, competing factions in the city's government resulted in conditions that would have been unthinkable elsewhere in the country.
You can be in jail on a misdemeanor for 45 days before a formal charge is made, and a felony arrest for 60 days. It's absolutely astounding. Other cities can take a few days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 at the outside.
It's big government in the worst kinds of ways. We see arrest rates that are perhaps 5 times what other cities see.
We had approximately 454,000 individuals in terms of our population here, but we had close to 100,000 arrests a year in the city of New Orleans.
You cannot solve the problem of serious violent crime by enforcement of minor crimes.
You cannot arrest your way out of the problem.
But for years, New Orleans remained unchanged. Its problems seemed intractable.
We have this sort of atmosphere and ambiance of keep things like they are.
It took one of nature's most horrifying catastrophes to change the way the city did business.
Hurricane Katrina itself caused individuals who would not ordinarily be interested in politics to actually put their hats in the ring. I'm one of those people.
Councilmember Carter stands out as one who unabashedly brought a reform agenda to public office.
Carter knew of only one organization equipped to help turn New Orleans around.
We actually invited the Vera Institute through city council funds to come and do a panoramic assessment of our criminal justice system to help to reimagine the criminal justice system in New Orleans.
This is not a kind of engagement where you can just fly in and drop in once in a while. We knew we had to go in a pretty significant way.
In the spring of 2007, Vera issued a study laying out the plans for change. Then, far from the distractions and daily political pressures of New Orleans, Vera brought together the leaders of the city's longtime factions in a retreat.
We had never in the city's history had a situation where we gathered all criminal justice key stakeholders together in a retreat format to actually come together behind a common denominator, and that was the Vera report.
From the very outset, the whole notion of having a retreat where the heads of agencies would come together and sit together and talk and argue and come to some consensus was a foundation for this idea that we're not going to do this on the nightly news. We're going to do this in the quiet contemplation of serious meetings.
At last, progress was being made. All the agency's actors agreed on a statement of commitment on how to proceed over the next 18 months.
In New Orleans, change of any sort is slow and difficult, but the payoff is sufficiently great that even small changes are going to be well worth the effort.
We've seen real dialogue emerge. We've seen real mindsets change, and we are seeing some real results on the ground.
And we focused on shortening the time frame from arrest to when the prosecutor's office makes a decision whether to charge someone formally with the crime. And we've shortened that time period, which was extraordinarily long. We're now down to somewhere between 7 and 8 days.
Still, in best practice terms, a little outside the mean, but historically in New Orleans, just a huge difference.
But most significant of all, the belief that New Orleans' problems are unsolvable has begun to ebb.
In the way we have been able to move these benchmarks forward has been because we have been able to corral a broad cross-section of people, cross-racial, cross-class, and incorporate these different aspects to move the portions with Vera's help forward.
there is still a long way to go, and we feel that the momentum is building to some extent every day, that the respect with which we're seen is growing. And if we're able to continue to financially support our presence here, we'll be able to do more and more to help the leaders of the city improve the system. That's what we're here for.
You really have a situation which, if can be changed, if it could be changed, if it does change, will be a model for the entire planet.